Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker, and today we're going to be talking about I know where I am, I'm unlost, silly gooses. And we're going to talk about silly gooses because I have recently, as you might have noticed, I did invest some time into doing shorts and reels more, and then I ran out of time to do shorts and reels more, so I stopped doing shorts and reels more. However, I do plan on returning to doing shorts and reels more. That was a lot of words. However, okay, so where this video is coming from is a couple of them, you know, especially the one where I said I don't think motorcycles are that dangerous, because I don't. That garnered, I think, a pretty big reaction, especially from people who have crashed in the past and maybe don't want their kids to follow in their footsteps or whatever else. And I never said that motorcycles aren't dangerous. There's obviously a higher risk factor to motorcycles than a car, for instance, for sure, but motorcycles are not that dangerous. Now when I say that dangerous, I mean like relatively. You know, people think that motorcycles are going to kill you the second you sit on one, which is just not true. You are obviously at a higher risk from other vehicles, because if a car hits a car, the result might not be catastrophic. If a car hits a bike, the result is very likely going to be catastrophic. But one comment that I definitely took issue with overall was, you know, some people are like, oh, you've obviously never crashed. Number one, I have, both on the road and on the track, and I was thankfully unharmed relatively both times, because I was wearing my gear like I am now. I have my elbow protectors, back protector, all that good stuff, and my Indie Ridge boots. There's a little advert for Indie Ridge. I do like my Indie Ridge boots. There's a review coming on all of the boots I have very soon. Sort of an updated review for older boots that I have. Anyway, one of the comments that kind of set me off, and I got a version of it on a few different platforms, is, you know, you've never had an accident. And like one person in particular was like, you've never had brakes fail, you've never had a tire explode, etc. Now, while brakes can fail just all by their lonesome, and tires can fail due to something on the road or whatever else, it's actually very unlikely if you maintain your bike. And this, I think, is where a lot of stuff comes into play for me, and it's why I always harp on maintenance. Now, I do enjoy doing maintenance, but I do harp on maintenance. You can also be like my friend Hatter, who does not do his own maintenance. However, if he feels like there's something wrong with his bike, or hears a noise or whatever else, it literally lives in the poor man's mind until he can get it looked at, and or he'll just stop riding the bike until he knows for sure that it's not going to yeet him off a cliff, to use his words, which is the sensible thing to do. I think where a lot of people kind of bother me, particularly that person, where they were like, I've had tires fail and brakes fail. I'm like, what were you doing? How old were your tires? Because I have personally seen tires that were about 1 billion years old, and people just riding with them like, oh, this is absolutely fine. Point in case the CB750 when I bought it, and I know I talk about that bike a lot, but it's because I like that bike, and it's actually a really good subject matter to talk about a lot of other things. So that's where, oh, look at the little doggy, such a cute doggy. We're going to talk about that, but that particular person who was like, I've had brakes fail and tires fail, they didn't reply to me. They actually deleted their comment afterwards when I went back to them and said, could you please provide some background? How old were your tires? Had you ever checked them for cracking? Did you check your pressures before you went out every day? I have a little DeWalt pump that I check the tires on pretty much every single day. Not every single day, I'm not going to say I'm a saint or anything, but almost every day I do check my pressures a lot, especially this time of year when it gets cold and hot a lot here in North Carolina. You know, last week the mornings were -6. This week we actually had to turn the air conditioning back on because the house is getting too warm. So that'll kind of give you an indication of, yes, blow all the leaves, the leaf blowers. It looks like fun. So that'll give you an indication of how hot and cold it does get here, which obviously plays havoc with tire pressures and whatnot. So do check your tire pressures, check them for dry rot, check them for age. But that's something that drives me crazy when someone uses like a definite lack of maintenance. What the hell is going on here? Please don't kill me. Thank you. And blames that on like their woes, you know, like when did you change your brake lines? I did also ask that question. Again, no response, because I'm sure it wasn't, you know, recently. And that's something that, you know, really does kind of get to me. Because, and this is the other thing, is with the lack of maintenance, you get away with that a lot more in a car, because you have 4 wheels. So if something does go wrong, you can kind of glide yourself to a halt, you know. You can do like a safe stop. That's something that really bothers me, is, you know, when someone's like, oh, I never had to look at my car like that, you know, I have never touched brake fluid or coolant on my car, but for some reason I'm on my bike and then it nearly kills me. Yeah, it's because your car is like there's a lot more room for error in a car. There's 4 wheels. You know, if you lose braking capacity on a car, you have 3 more brakes, and you have, look at the surface contact on the tires in that truck in front of us, and that one, and that car. There's a huge amount of surface contact. You're talking about, on a motorcycle, 2 credit card sized pieces of material, and you want to trust all your life to something that you're not maintaining. I mean, you're braver than me. Good on you. I wouldn't do it. What is this big ass truck doing on this road? That's brave. Good driver. You want to trust all your life to. Those are really cool houses. It's something that you're not looking after. I mean, fair play, but I wouldn't do it. You know, tire age is super important. Brake hoses are a consumable. They have a lifespan. It's literally in your service manual. And this is the thing, right? I'm okay with people ignoring those once they're aware of the risks. However, if you just blatantly ignore them and then blame a bike for failing to stop when you needed to stop, or to grip when you needed to grip, that's my entire point, is bikes aren't that dangerous. The problem with shorts is you can only cover so much in them. What I would have covered more is bikes aren't that dangerous if you look after them right. If you look after a bike right, a bike will look after you. If you don't ride a bike like you're on a racetrack 24/7 on public roads, then you're going to have room for error. If you ride, like if right now, could I overtake all these cars in this truck? Absolutely. But I can't see over that crest. And there's a car. Look at that. Look at it. You know what I mean? This is kind of my issue. If I'd been going fast there, and that car had unpredictably stopped, which they definitely shouldn't have done while indicating left. Smart. You know, then I wouldn't have had time to react and stop to that. So it's also riding behavior? What is going on there? Do they live down there? If they do, well done. I wouldn't fit in there. Nice little house you got there for yourselves. You crazy gooses. Go, you sausage. That stuff is hard to take off on. That's a very long truck. I think it's the next left I want to take, I think, to get to where we're going. But yeah, those comments really kind of set me off a little bit, because it's just such nonsense to blame a machine that is designed to do a thing if you don't look after it. You know what I mean? Like if you were like, oh, I'm starving to death, would you eat food, or would you just, like, you know, die and then be like, humans are so bad, I didn't even feed myself and then I died? I know that's an extreme example, probably a bad example. However, my point stands. That dude is good at driving a truck. Well done, sir. Yeah, we'll sneak out. Yes. I shall be turning right on red here. Oh, maybe not. Oh, gee, they're all going right. Yes, I can. Whee! But yeah, that's something that really pisses me off, is, you know, when you have someone who, and this is the thing, right? So that person obviously is vehemently against bikes. Someone who, you know, number one, says I'm BS. There was another person said, don't BS people, bikes are really dangerous. I'm not BSing people. I tell people the truth. insofar as if you ride like an asshole, all the time you're going to get hurt. Have I ridden like an asshole? Yes. I'm not being a hypocrite when I say that, you know, some people do ride like assholes. I am not the be all and end all. I'm not going to tell you should never do that because it's illegal. I don't really care law wise. I am not a police officer, nor will I ever be a police officer. Therefore, that's not really my problem. However, I do say it insofar as I don't want you to get hurt. You know, I don't want someone to plant themselves into the back of a car going around a blind corner because they're trying to get their knee down on a public road. I don't want someone slinging themselves over a guardrail down a cliff because they high-sided on a road that was dusty and they were doing it on cold tires because they weren't aware of all those things. So these are the things that I try to talk about in my videos. You know, are bikes dangerous if used incorrectly? Yes. Are cars dangerous if used incorrectly? Yes. You can kind of do all of those caveats all of the time. At the end of the day, it's like, generally, no, they're not that dangerous. You know what I mean? And that's another reason, you know, I don't ride like an asshole 24/7, because I really would like to not have to talk to a police officer any time, actually, ever. Not because I'm sure some of them are nice people. It's just I don't want to talk to them, because generally, when you talk to a police officer, it's not for a good reason. So I try to stay off the radar, like a sensible person. Also, I'm on a visa and I don't want to get deported. That's a big modifier in my thinking. I hope I remember how to get to the place that I think I know how to get to. I feel like I'm supposed to take a left at some point, but I really don't remember when. So we're just gonna see how this plays out. Ooh, voice break. We're gonna. Welcome to prepubescent GorillaBiker. But yeah, that's kind of my rant on that. Is like, if you own a motorcycle, I mean, number one, you should be aware that the risks that do exist bite harder if they happen. Now, overall, is it riskier than a car? Yes, because like I said, if someone pulls out in front of you on a bike, which is nothing you can really maintain your bike for. Now, if you maintain your bike and you ride accordingly to the road conditions, you have a much better chance of not hitting that car. You know, if you're going triple the speed limit and whatnot, then you know you're not giving yourself much hope in that situation. That just is what it is. There's not a whole pile you can do about that. You know, if you are doing triple the speed limit. Did I remember? Is this it? I think I remembered. I think I actually found, yes, the Educational State Park, which is I really need to check the opening hours on this thing. I can't. It's closed again. Oh, right there. 9 to 5. But what? Oh, it's Monday. It's closed on a Monday, people. I had a day off today, so I thought I'd come here. It's only 3:26. I'm sorry. I have failed you all. Oh my god, I really suck at this. That's what I wanted to bring you, and I even had my camera to take some photos. But you know, what can you do? Such is life. But yeah, I mean, that's something, and you know, it's something I would love to do as well at some point. Is now I don't have a qualification, so I'd probably have to go get a qualification before I could, in good conscience. There we go, good conscience. You know, teach people like motorcycle maintenance, because now I don't know. I'm obviously never going to qualify as a mechanic because I have a full-time job, and that's not really an option. I don't know. What would you think? Would you come to a class I offered for motorcycle maintenance, basic stuff? You know, like oil changes, air filter changes, chain and sprocket changes, wheel bearing changes, stuff like that. Just the basic stuff. I am by no means a mechanic, but that's something I would love to do, just to teach people like the basics, the basic checks on their bike, and even if not to do them themselves, how to keep an eye on them so that they can actually bring it to a mechanic in good time and they don't bin their bike off the side of a cliff, etc. And also, what's your opinion on you know, that sort of thing, like the whole bikes being dangerous thing. Do you think bikes are just a crazy risk you should never take in your life? Or do you think, like me, that they're a calculated risk? They are definitely more dangerous than a car. But if ridden to road conditions and traffic conditions and weather conditions, and you maintain them properly, then you're probably going to be alright, you know. And like I said, I'm not judging people who have had accidents because they were going really fast or whatever else. I have gone really fast in my life. I generally don't on the road anymore, to be honest, unless I'm in parts of West Virginia with Hatter, and I blame him as a bad influence for that. But no, in general I don't, just because Meadowview. I wonder, can we go in here and have a look? Let's see. Stones on the road. What's this going to be? Another housing estate? There's going to be so many housing estates. I want to see, where's the view of the meadow? This looks like a view of other houses to me. Why not call it other house view? There's no freaking meadow here. There used to be a meadow here, I'm sure. Or like Honeydew Way. I love coming into these places. It's so funny. It's like, you know, I watched like Walterific and Jake the Garden Snake for the longest time. I was always like, I have never seen something like this in Ireland, just like laid out ready to slap all those houses in. Now obviously they do exist, but I don't know, we seem to do it differently and it's all blocked off and you can't get in there. Ooh, adventure. So it's really cool. Like, since I moved over, I've actually been able to kind of ride through some of them myself. I'm probably going to get arrested, but sure, look, you take your chances. Oh, well, look, it actually does lead down to houses, so I'm alright. Oh, that's a walking track, but the temptations to make it not a walking track are strong. It's like, I know it is a walking track, but I could ride down there. Maybe not on this big beast, because if I met people I wouldn't be able to just get out of the way. But yeah, that's kind of my opinion on bikes being dangerous. Which look, I find it very hard to blame people too much, because the thing is, like, people obviously have lost people to bikes. I have lost friends to bikes, not to bikes, but to accidents while they were riding bikes. Which is, look, that's always sad. It always sucks. You know, I've had family members have bad accidents off. Well, family member have a bad accident off a motorcycle. It's just, it is an unfortunate part of motorcycles. So when things go wrong, they tend to be a little bit worse. So I didn't go back hard on all those people with comments, because, you know, I don't feel like people who have, you know, genuine trauma from something deserve to just be absolutely laid into because I disagree with their opinion. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm too easy on people sometimes too. But I don't know. I don't think it's like really the appropriate thing to be like, go back, you're an idiot. Oh my god, your opinion's stupid. You should put it in the bin. Cue the in the bin gif from Mighty Car Mods. I love those guys. Yeah, I love guys. I said it. Arrest me. No, welcome back to Clayton. But yeah, that's something that I definitely do kind of think that, you know, a lot of people overestimate the risk of motorcycles too, just because, you know, they think that they're super dangerous because people have had accidents in the past. It's not the most comfortable thing to talk about, because there's always someone who has a very sad story, and I am in no way devaluing trying to devalue how they feel about that. That's not my intent here, but it is to bring on another era of riders in the hope that they realize most of it is in your hands. You know, most of accidents, and unfortunately, if you look up the statistics, I would love to be someone who says, you know, the statistics say that most people are hurt or killed by cars pulling out in front of them. Unfortunately, the statistics show that a large proportion of the people who are killed in motorcycle accidents, it's directly due to speed. And I have slowed down a hell of a lot in the last few years, especially since I started going to the track. So, you know, I do recommend, if you're someone like me who really does enjoy going fast, then try go to the track. And you can bring any bike to the track. You know, I went on the Z900RS this year, completely stock, literally completely stock. I didn't make any changes to it before the track because well, number one, I'm also using it as a base, a baseline. There we go, a baseline for comparisons to two modifications I will be making, and a kind of a cost-benefit analysis to those, because it's never going to be like a super fast race bike. But it's a bike I absolutely love and a bike that I enjoy riding on the track. So that's kind of why I wanted to go with that one as my bike. Is the thing is, you can only have so many bikes. I'm actually out of space now, to be honest. I will not be buying another one. And you know, in the case of the track, I've always wanted a Z900RS since they were released, so that's why I bought one. And the fact it's a dual purpose, I can use it on the road or on the track, was a large part of it. And that's another thing on the track, you know, as I discovered to my misfortune, it's how important checking everything on bikes are. The reason, you know, well, the reason we think, partially the reason we think I crashed my Gixxer way back when on the track in Mondello was because the suspension was unsuitable for my weight. This time on the Z900RS, the suspension is also unsuitable for my weight, but I was actually aware of that and rode the bike accordingly. And now I'm going to upgrade the suspension, obviously. So yeah, that's it. I don't think bikes are inherently dangerous. I think they do carry more risks, especially if ridden without taking into account prevailing road, weather, maintenance conditions, etc. I just nearly cut my bike out, but I didn't. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think bikes are super dangerous? Are you watching this thinking about maybe getting a bike? Has this swayed you for or against? The one thing I will always say is I think bikes, when it does go wrong, it tends to go wrong a little bit worse than if you were in a car or whatever else. Obviously, because you're not completely, but you're relatively unprotected in comparison to a big old box of metal with airbags and whatnot. That said, I wouldn't change it for the world. I much prefer riding bikes. I have way more invested in bikes than I do in any four-wheel vehicle, because they're what I enjoy doing. I'm lucky in that I get to commute on something that actually makes me happy most of the time, except when it's super cold, rather than something that I just kind of drive because, you know, I have to, I suppose. Like when it was -6 and whatnot outside. That's Celsius, by the way. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but I know I still read things in Celsius. And that's it. I'm going to go home now. So let me know what your thoughts are. I will get you back to that state forest, educational forest at some point to actually see it, I promise. And yeah, until next time, thank you very much for watching. A special thank you, as always, to all of my patrons. I do really appreciate your support. And yeah, until next time, adios. Outro crew, what do you think? Have you ever had an accident on the bike? And if you have had an accident, do you think it was entirely your fault? Or was it the bike's fault? Or was it that you weren't taking into account prevailing conditions and whatnot? Definitely me, I wasn't taking into account prevailing conditions for one of them. And on the track, it was definitely I did not have the bike up to scratch from a suspension perspective. And I even made videos at the time saying I wasn't happy with the suspension, you know, before I crashed. So it's something that I weigh that completely on my own shoulders. It's something I was aware of. It's something I should have done better with. And the other time, it was definitely prevailing conditions. You know, I wasn't riding as carefully as I could have been. I wasn't overdoing it, which is why I didn't get hurt, and which was why the bike didn't get completely destroyed. I was actually going quite slowly, but still, the point stands. I did not take into account correctly prevailing weather conditions and how slow I should have been riding. So, yeah, let me know. What do you think, Outro Crew? Bye, Outro Crew.